Okay, completing the square, number 6. Again, I noticed that I'm starting off here with a 4, and I don't need to have a coefficient of x squared. So I've got to go through and divide everything by 4. Whenever we're dividing by 4, in this particular case, we're going to be really careful about doing several things in this first step. The first is we're going to reduce. So I have x squared minus. I want to reduce this fraction by 2. And so that's going to be 3x over 2, reducing it by 2. And I'm going to do 2 or 3 things here. First, I'm going to move this over and the negative becomes positive. I'm going to scoot down, skip a space, and this is going to be a positive 5/2 whenever I reduce that. So here, I reduced each fraction, 3 over 2. The negative became positive, move C to the other side, and then I reduced all the fractions. Now the rule is, always add half of b squared to both sides. So what I'm doing is I'm taking half of 3/2. So I'm going to say half of negative 3/2 times 1/2, or you can say negative 3/2 divided by 2. This is really the easiest to do, and when I multiply that, I can see that that's going to be negative 3/4. So negative 3/4 to both sides. Half of negative 3/2 is negative 3/4. There's a shortcut that says you can half the top or double the bottom. Since I can't automatically take half of 3, I'm just going to double the bottom. 2 doubled is 4. That's just a little shortcut, but this is where we get it right here. Once we get to that point, we go back to the rules that say set up your binomial square, and I have x, and then negative 3/4 or minus 3/4. Again, that sign's going to run down, and then you're going to, put in your calculator 5 plus negative 3/4 squared. Make it a fraction, and in this case, we're getting 49 over 16. These are really nice because they're both perfect squares. My next step, if you remember, is to take the square root of both sides. So here I have x minus 3/4 is equal to plus or minus, don't forget that. The square root of 49 is 7, and the square root of 16 is 4. So once I've got everything kind of cleaned up here, I'm going to move over this or add to both sides, 3/4. Negative on the left means positive on the right. But if you notice, they both have a denominator of 4. So we're going to share that denominator of 4. The negative 3 becomes positive 3 plus or minus 7. No square roots, no i's, so I need to continue. So what I have here is, I have 3 plus 7 over 4, and I have 3 minus 7 over 4. So this is 10 over 4, which reduces to 5 over 2. And this is negative 4 over 4, which reduces to negative 1. So if I were to write my final answer least to greatest, it's negative 1, negative 1, and then a positive 5/2. Number 7. On number 7, I have a couple of things here that I have to be careful of. One is that this has a coefficient of 2, so I know I've got to divide through. If you also notice, the c is already on the right side, so I don't have to worry about the c. So I'm going to divide everything by 2, and I end up with x squared minus 7x, but I still need to scoot down, skip a space, and then I have 17 over here. So I've divided by a, I scoot and skip, move c to the other side, and I'm set to go. The next step is always add half of b squared. Now half of 7, if you come over here and say negative 7 times 1/2, I can just see that that's going to be 7 over 2. So I have negative 7 over 2 quantity squared plus negative 7 over 2 squared. Whenever you have this negative, do not forget to put that in parentheses. So here this creates the binomial square of x. Here's the minus sign, or here's negative 7/2. is equal to, and then we're going to calculate 17 plus negative 7 halves squared. And that's 117 over 4. So now I've got to take care of this squared. So take the square root of both sides, and that just brings down x minus 7 halves is equal to plus or minus. I can walk straight through this every time. Now you always want to take the root when you can. I have the square root of 117. I'm just going to come over to the side and make sure I don't know what that, or make sure I break that down. So if I have the square root of 117, I know that 3 will go into that. 3 will go into 1139 times. I see another 3. So this is 3 times 13. So I have a pair of 3's. So this is actually 3 square roots of 13. So I can break down the square root of 117. That's 3 square roots of 13. Over. I know the square root of 4, that's just simply 2. Now, I solve for x. I bring this over to the other side. I notice that they both have a common denominator of 2. The negative 7 comes over and becomes positive 7, plus or minus 3 square roots of 13. Now, since I can't do anything with the square root of 13, I can't add them together, I can't simplify in any way, that would be my final answer, right here. We'll continue on the next video.